Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I'll be guiding you on this journey today. And I've gone back to making like little intro videos to put at the beginning of each reading. So that's what this is. And I'm stalling because I can't remember what I was actually going to say in this intro. Memory. Anyway, okay, here we go. It's all coming back to me now. Couple things. I'm going to stick to just doing human design profile readings for the time being. I also am going to start doing readings by type as well. So, there'll be a reading for manifestors, there'll be a reading for projectors, there'll be a reading for generators and manifesting generators. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep those in one reading for now anyway, until I feel differently about it. And then reflectors as well. So I'm going to add those readings in, but I just, a little birdie told me to stick with those. And I think, honestly, in great part because those are the readings that I actually get like a response on, and there's more engagement in those readings that I put out. And that's what I want, and being a manifesting generator myself, right? It's responding. So, instead of doing the zodiac signs and the human design profile readings, at least for the next little while, I don't know how long that'll last until a birdie tells me to do differently. And obviously that birdie is like my intuition or like my own like personal guidance, right? But that's what I'm going to do for the time being. And I think like part of why I haven't necessarily done that sooner is because I really haven't been engaging with or like super I don't know, whatever the fucking word is. Like, how annoying is that? To not be able to find the right word. I just haven't been as in the realm of human design as I have been with astrology. Like I've been spending a lot of focus on just understanding astrology, and especially like my own astrology. And so I just really haven't been engaging with a lot of human design content. Like I really haven't been keeping on top of it. So as a 5/1, I think I just feel a bit insecure about making that the prominent thing. And I honestly, I can't even say that's going to change. Like I'm not saying that like I'm going to start diving heavily back into human design just yet. I know the basics. I know all of the shit that like I did learn before. But yeah, that is the truth. That is the truth that I haven't been as on top of that as I have been on top of astrology. I mean, obviously, astrology is also included in like human design, but anyway, that would be getting into a bit of like semantics. So, from here on, for however long, I'm just going to stick to doing human design profile readings. The 333 readings are still available. Those are the only that's the only offering that I have right now. Like, I'm not doing longer form, or I'm not doing one-on-one like personal readings for the time being. I had a couple people email me about a personal reading, like a longer form personal reading, and I just don't feel called, or it just doesn't feel good for me to put energy into those for right now. For whatever reason, I mean, I do feel like I'm in this like transitionary phase, and I'm like literally in the middle of it, like that liminal space, and I just kind of feel like I need to kind of keep my energy like focused on whatever is going to unfold, like with that. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel good to offer, like I said, like anything basically beyond like those 333 readings. So, which is also like kind of scary, right? Like, because I'm like, ugh. I could use the money right now. I could use, really, ultimately, I could use the money right now. Like, that is the truth of it. I could use the money, but that is the only thing, like and that's not like a very good, that's not a motivator that like feels good, for me right now. So the capacity that I do have is, again, the 333 readings. The basics of that is that it's $3.33. You would Venmo me $3.33 and include your email address, and I will pull 2 cards for you. The first card would be the door, or that's basically the obstacle or the opportunity, or the thing that you are standing in front of, or the thing that you are coming up to in your life. And then the key would be the guidance or the advice, or how to work through that obstacle, or, rite of passage, or, whatever. And the readings that I have done on those so far, and thank you to those who have requested that offering, they have been so amazing and so cool. But it is a written reading, so you'll get a PDF with a picture of the tarot card. The interpretation that I have for it, and then any overall like thoughts or things that I kind of picked up on in those cards too. So again, like I said, the ones that I have done have been so amazing and so cool, just the way that things have unfolded. And, the people who have gotten those readings, there's been great feedback from those readings as well. So thank you also for that. And I'll put, of course, an explanation of that in the description. Yeah, really quick then, because this is long as hell all of a sudden. Let me just introduce the decks that we're going to be using. The tarot deck is the Wandering Moon Tarot, and I was going to say the affirmation deck, which I guess that it is, but the Oracle deck that we're going to be using is the Inner Fucking Peace deck, and my sister actually sent these cards to me. So yeah, let's get into the reading. Great. So this is a reading for the 6-2 human design profile. If you don't know what your human design profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your human design body graph, and your profile will be listed on there. Your type will be listed on there as well if you don't know what that is. So definitely be sure to look out for those readings whenever they come out. Interesting. 5 of Pentacles came out like kind of sideways. What else? Okay. Seven of Swords, Four of Wands. Interesting. And then the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And let's get your oracle card. It says, be here now. Come on, inner peace. I don't have all day. Let me see. Move some things a little bit. I love the lack of patience. I can definitely relate to that. Also, too, you know, like, I mean, of course, it just like reminds me, of course, it reminds me of like a cartoon movie. Are we still, am I still? Okay. But, you know, like, I think it was it the second Kung Fu Panda movie where they're practicing inner peace, or like that's the thing, and Po is like really pretty impatient with mastering inner peace, you know? And it pretty much like took him getting his ass kicked. Which is interesting, actually. Because I'm like, now that reference came up, I'm like, I know that he does master it at some point, but, you know, he gets his ass kicked by the peacock. And then the seer, or that I think it was a goat, right? Like, finds him and nurses him back to health. And then he uses the method, you know, to try to tap into his memories of like how his parents died, or how he thought anyway his parents died, and it was really hard for him to connect to that, you know. Anyway, interesting, very interesting that you know, came up that way. Let me see. Let me maybe get out of here because this is kind of distracting me. Okay. I mean, I could just close this. What am I doing? There. Big yawn too. So yeah, okay. Let's just start. Let's just start talking about this. The Five of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, the Four of Wands. It's interesting because I've actually been sitting here for a couple minutes just staring at these cards. I'm going to cut that out of the reading because, yeah, I mean, it's literally just sitting here in silence. Like, maybe I shouldn't cut it out. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, if we'll see. We'll see what I decide to do. Because also, like, part of me is like, maybe we just need a minute of silence, actually. A minute or two. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't like timing how long I was just sitting here. But yeah, we'll see. That's not the point, but it's like as soon as I said it though, I'm like, oh, maybe not. And I also halfway wonder if that is what is happening for you. I mean, a lot of this does feel like an internal process happening. For me, you know, when cards come out sideways like this, if the top of the card is on the left side, to me it's working its way into upright, you know, like clockwise basically. If the top of the card comes out on the right side, it's working its way into the reverse. So your card, the top of the card, or in your spread, the top of the card came out on the left side. So it feels like it's working its way into the upright. And, you know, I mean, reversals can, of course, like mean the opposite of what the upright, you know, meaning of the card is. But for me, it's more about an internal process. Like, you know, the Five of Pentacles talks about lack and scarcity, issues with worth, feeling maybe like you don't have enough time, resources, you know, your health could be being impacted in some way as well. Fives are also just transitionary energies. They're not anything to pitch a tent and get stuck in. So it could be that, again, right, just internally, maybe you are feeling unsupported or insecure in whatever fashion that may be. Like, you know, insecure in the sense of not having enough money. Again, not having enough time. Not having enough energy to like physically, you know, put into something. It really almost kind of feels like burnout, but it's more of like a physical versus like a mental or energetic type of thing. Like literally maybe you don't want to move. Like, or that's, you know, maybe the feeling that you're getting as well. And I keep like staring at this Seven of Swords here and just the way, the position that these swords are in. It feels like kind of daunting. I don't know why, like for some reason, I just imagine, and I've never been to New York. I would love to at some point, but I could just imagine, and I'm just using New York as an example because I can't really think of a different one, but, and like skyscrapers is kind of the direction I'm going in, but it's like, you know, you're in this place and there's these huge structures, you know, like these huge creations. And it's just like, holy shit, you know? I don't know why, like that's the feeling that I'm getting from the Seven of Swords, but like in this reading in particular, It would be like you coming up against like something either in yourself or a situation in your life that is bigger than anticipated, or it's the thing that has made the biggest impact. Because the Seven of Swords talks about, for me, it's the card of us fooling ourselves. It's self-sabotage. It's, the fucked up belief systems that we've, the limiting beliefs, like those type of belief systems. It's, Brene Brown calls them gremlins. It's the shame or guilt or embarrassment that we've attached stories to, which again became our beliefs, which then became our actions, type of thing. And with the Five of Pentacles being kind of like in the reverse, and again, like for me, that's an internal process. It really does feel like there is something that is lacking here for you. And maybe it is like causing those stories to surface. Maybe it's even making those stories become larger, or the emphasis on them is larger. And I also, I halfway wonder if the reason that is happening is because you don't have a creative outlet right now. For whatever reason, whether it's just a period, like a phase that you're going through, or just there's nothing that's necessarily like, striking your interest, or maybe too just not feeling inspired. There's a lot of fucked up shit that's like going on in the whole entire world, not to mention just finding out how many people are actually fucked up, and it's just kind of like, and I'm just supposed to be over here, finding a creative outlet, or like, I'm just supposed to be going to work every day, or like, my sense of security is being threatened, and all this other shit is like happening in the world because, the Four of Wands is a card of celebration. And it is like support from others. There's generally other people involved with that. It talks about, your actions thus far getting you to a point of security and stability, having a firm foundation. And the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck is connection. It's shared values. This can be relationship wise. I don't do relationship readings ever. But, it certainly can be. People do see the Four of Wands as a marriage card. The Two of Cups is, sometimes a romantic relationship as well, like the start of a romantic relationship. And of course, like with these other two cards, you could feel a sense of lack in that. I know that, like relationships are really pretty important to sixth lines. It can also be platonic, though. It could be friends and peers, just not necessarily feeling supported in that. And I do just like the top of my head. It's interesting because throughout all of these readings, like the crown chakra has been really pretty prominent. And I can't even tell you the last time I ever talked about the crown chakra, but I just keep feeling like a weightiness at my crown chakra, and it's almost like it's pushing me down. So even like, again, like if you've been sitting a lot, if you've been laying down a lot, like I really halfway wonder if there is pressure, like if you tapped into that, like if you feel pressure at your crown. And like if that is the case, it does feel like there would be information there for you to work through. Because like the Seven of Swords, like I said, right, it's a card of us fooling ourselves. Well, what is the story there? What is the story behind us fooling ourselves? What is your self-sabotage story? What are you telling yourself? Is it true? Are you receiving like information? I mean, of course, like in the realm of human design, we don't make decisions from our head center, head or root. We don't make decisions from those places because they're pressure centers. And like behind a thought is the immediate pressure to do something with it, or like a creative idea or whatever, and we don't make decisions from that. Instead, we allow that to go through our strategy and authority, and that's how we help like determine what we do, right? Because our strategy and authority is literally designed to help us enter into the correct experiences and when to exit those experiences as well. So it could just be, a lot of the times it's just filing it away for a later conversation or, a later time. But, we can't necessarily control what enters. Well, we can and we can't, we can control what we give attention to. And if we're giving attention to lack, or if we're giving attention to the limiting beliefs, that could be what is impacting or affecting the Four of Wands. Maybe you're also even going through a period of time of really focusing on regulating your nervous system. Even, there's this lotus at their crown chakra, and their heart here is huge and pink, So again, like you could be in a process of trying to almost like reprogram your nervous system, and what could be coming up for you is lack, and also like how that lives in your body, how that has affected your nervous system, and the stories attached to it. Anxieties, fears. This also too could be other people's shit that you've held on to, right? Like other people affecting what you believe about yourself. Again, it could be somebody else's words in your head. You can't do that. You're not worth it. You don't have the whatever, how dare you try, or do you think you're better than me, or, like whatever it is that comes up in your mind. Like I said, it's a really great opportunity to discover what those stories are. And then also too, like even checking in with your body, with your heart, and being like, is that actually true? I can guarantee you 9.9 times out of 10, it is not true. And then it becomes, what is true then? Like, what is my truth? And that's kind of the other thing I feel is fucking monumentally important right now in the collective. This is what I feel is going to be the awakening. You know, you keep hearing like spiritual, spaces and shit, which, okay, anyway, don't get me started. It's going to be interesting to see how spiritual spaces operate now that Neptune is in Aries. Anyway, and there's no going back to Pisces in our lifetime anyway, and the next couple lifetimes, So anyway, like I said, like, don't get me started on that. But I'm sure you've heard, people talk about great awakenings and whatever, right? And if the ones that I've seen have generally been like pretty like woo-woo and whatever. And I also feel like a lot of it is still rooted in like religious practice, which I'm out of there. No, thank you. Personally, I don't think spirituality should have any reflection or anything having to do with religion. And that's why I don't call myself spiritual anymore either. But I believe, I'm sorry, I keep going on these like tangents. But I also, I like literally, I'm like, I just have to trust whatever is coming out of my mouth. So I truly believe that the great awakening that is actually going to happen is truth. We are literally seeing how monumental lies are, how much other lies were happening in order to keep those lies protected. We're literally all seeing, collectively all fucking together, how untrue everything fucking is. Like, literally everything, And I think it is the most important thing right now for every person to discover the truth about themselves. I think it is hugely important to believe the lies that were being shown, believe the truth behind them, right? There's video, there's pictures, there's literal, written correspondence. It's literally using your own fucking eyes and trusting your own eyes, like trusting the truth of what you're seeing, accepting the lies, right? But it's more important for individual people to accept the truth of themselves, to see where you've maybe kept yourself small, to see where, you didn't go after opportunities because of whatever the stories are in your head. You don't have the experience. You don't have the whatever, right? Like, you can't imagine making that amount of money, right? Like, because your worth is like wrapped up in being small, right? Like, you have the juice, you have the capacity, the ability, but it's whatever the shit is in our heads that's like, no. Literally, like, I would say, what year is this? 2026? 7 or 8 years ago, there was a job that I made, like, every single fucking thing listed on that job. I had the experience for. I knew I could fucking do. But the pay was like 30,000 more than the most money I had ever made. And I couldn't apply for the job. I didn't apply for the job. I kept looking at it and I kept telling myself, dude, like, I have every single one of these fucking skills. I mean, literally, this job is literally, it has my name on it, but the pay, I was like, I don't, I'm equating that number to, I don't know, like my ability or my deservedness, or what I felt I was fucking worth, dude. I did not feel like I was fucking worth 30,000 more than I was making at the time. I never applied for it. I stayed at the fucking job that literally sucked the goddamn life out of me. For another couple years, even. So it's like there is this desire for stability, peace, harmony. I mean, maybe marriage, of course, is, coming together of two people signing a contract. You can't just break up, you have to sign more paperwork to break up after that point. But it could be marrying together like two things, like, any two things. Something that you love with making money off of it, or, having a life that you enjoy, and also, like feeling supported and also having a regulated nervous system, having control, or giving attention to a different set of thoughts versus allowing this to continue. I mean, you can feel the fear and do it anyway, right? Like you can have those stories, because I don't know if they ever go away, but it's just the recognition of them. Like, yep, I know you're here because we're in uncharted territory, or we're doing something new, and there's, some anxiety or activation in my body, but we're fine. We're safe, like I got this. We're okay. Like having to constantly do that. So, it's doing both things at the same time. And, even like making connections that are more in alignment with you, being around people who do celebrate you, being around people who do recognize your worth and don't, you know, trigger or feed into those thoughts, those limiting beliefs, right? Like that would be more like trauma bonds, or, I had this realization about a friend recently that I've been friends with for quite some time. And now I'm just not clicking, I guess, with her anymore. And the truth is, like, she hasn't really changed in the last however long. And I fucking have changed a lot. Like, my tolerance is different. She's also one of those friends that people are like, why are you friends with her? And like I said, I've been friends with her for quite some time. She's not a bad person at all, not at all. But for the longest time, or I should say I, clicked. But I do believe that it was actually a trauma bond. Like, I thought that I had kind of addressed all the trauma bonds that I had around me. But I realized that when we became friends, I was fine with her mannerisms and her personality and being rough around the edges, because I am too. And But now though, I'm like, I just don't have a tolerance for it anymore. And it's because I've grown out of it, you know? That just happens. Like, it just is. And that's, again, like, it's observing thoughts. And again, like with this Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck, this is connection. And this is, a more reciprocal connection as well, whatever it is for you, whether it is romantic or it's a friendship or it's business. It both people are coming into the connection with like the same desired outcome or the same values and morals. They both have their own cup as well, so there's not a disconnect or an imbalance with the load, quote unquote, right? It's somebody who gets it. And then we have the Two of Wands, which is planning for the future. And again, even this like exchange, there's all this exchange happening here. Whereas like in the first couple cards, like there was no exchange happening. And also too, like that could be what is lacking. Like, and again, like I started to say at the beginning of the reading, like, maybe there just isn't a creative outlet for you right now. And maybe part of that creative outlet is getting around people. It could be finding like a creative workshop in your area, taking a cooking class, like a creative writing class, drawing classes. Like, I don't know, there's an art center in my city, and I've taken a writing class there. I started taking a drawing class there, but then I was like, I'm not really in the mood for this. But they also have jewelry making, they have painting, they have ceramics as well. I did a ceramics class there a couple years ago. But it's like, it's all, for the most part, like adults. Like I feel like the majority of the people that were in the class were probably in their 30s or maybe 40s, maybe a little older than that. I mean, I'm sure that there were some 20-year-olds in there too, but it's more like adult forward, because where do you go to like meet adults also once you are one? So yeah, I mean, that could be your creative outlet. It could even be like you putting on some sort of workshop or class, like if that's something that you have wanted to do. But it's like something that supports your nervous system. It's something that also like helps to support protecting your peace. So yeah. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.